If you're a system admin, you absolutely know the daily struggle. You're sort of the nexus point for every failure, every request.
And every project, usually the ones that are under-resourced.
Exactly. You're fighting production fires, you're trying to migrate some ancient database, and at the same time, you're fielding those, my monitor is off tickets.
Right. The expectation is just, it's impossible. You have to achieve perfect reliability in the infrastructure.
And maintain superhuman endurance in yourself.
And that simultaneous pressure, that need to be tactical, strategic, and reactive all at once, that is a direct path to burnout.
It has to be.
It forces you into a state of cognitive overload. Your personal performance starts to fail long before any of your servers do.
Okay, so let's really unpack this problem. We found a really powerful and frankly surprising solution. It's hidden in a philosophical framework called the 24-inch gauge.
And this isn't some new software or a trendy Silicon Valley mantra.
Not at all. It's an ancient ethical architecture for time management. It offers this symbolic 888 division of the day.
The gauge itself, historically, it's a metaphor. It comes from stonemasonry, a tool for measuring and dividing things properly.
In this case, time.
Right, time. And what's so fascinating is how this structure, which was designed centuries ago, provides the exact architecture that a modern sysadmin needs to stay sane.
So our mission today is to take this 888 gauge and map it directly onto the practices required for sustained SA performance. We're going to reveal the productivity secrets hidden inside these divisions. The goal is what the sources call time well employed.
And we begin with the first block of 8 hours. This is the one dedicated to your usual vocation, your job.
Right.
And the sources are really clear on this. For SAs, the entire strategy here is about fierce protection and optimization of that time.
But how does an SA possibly protect 8 hours? I mean, we are literally paid to be interrupted. That's the job, isn't it?
That is the friction point. It really is. The core principle for this block is maintaining focus during what we'll call project time.
Okay.
Our sources identify the greatest threat to that, the natural enemy of focus, as interruptions.
Of course.
And it's not just the 5 minutes you lose, it's the context switching cost. If you get pulled off a complex deployment script when you come back, you spend so much mental energy just remembering where you were.
And that's when you introduce errors. The tiny, subtle ones.
That's it. That tax is enormous. It's the guaranteed path to a catastrophic typo.
So if we can't just eliminate support requests, what's the tactic? How do we enforce that focus?
The solution is something called the mutual interruption shield.
A mutual interruption shield.
Yeah, and it's not just about closing Slack. It's a pre-agreed, almost contractual system among your team members. You designate blocks of time, say 3 hours, where you are unreachable for anything less than a production down emergency.
And during that time, your colleagues run interference for you.
They're obligated to. They use pre-canned responses to deflect requests that are aimed at you. They protect your focus.
I can hear a listener thinking right now, that's great, but what if I'm on a team of 2? We're both the designated responders.
That's a fair challenge.
How do you build a shield when there's nowhere to hide?
Well, in a lean team, the shield is even more crucial, but it has to be scheduled and communicated. You tell your users proactively, I am unavailable for non-critical requests between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. daily.
And you route them to the shared queue.
Exactly, which your colleague monitors. It's about creating predictable gaps, not total silence.
Okay, so once we've shielded the time, we have to optimize it. This brings us to automation. Now, automation sounds great, but how do we justify that massive upfront time cost when management is just screaming for immediate fixes?
You justify it because automation gets you repeatability, scalability, and error-free execution. That's what frees up your capacity for the strategic work we're going to talk about later.
So where do we start?
When optimizing this vocational block, we look at 2 critical categories, and these are straight from the source material.
Let's define those, because the sources use some specific jargon. They talk about Category 3 and Category 2 tasks.
Right, so Category 3 tasks are the simple things done often.
Like what? Routine patching.
Routine patching, daily health checks, generating regular reports. You automate these first because they drain these small but frequent chunks of time, and they're super prone to human error when you're rushing.
The goal is just hands-off execution.
Complete hands-off. And then you have Category 2.
Which are?
Category 2 tasks are the complex things done once, which the sources say you should encapsulate.
Encapsulate. What does that mean?
It means building a reusable, robust deployment pipeline for a new application. You might spend a whole week building it, but after that, deploying becomes a single, repeatable command. You've turned complex chaos into a predictable habit.
So the big takeaway for the vocation block is optimization and protection. You're automating the predictable stuff and shielding the critical project time.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're freeing up your expensive, high-level brain capacity by offloading all the simple, boring, or repetitive work. Predictable, error-free execution in the system allows for error-free, focused execution in you. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's move to the second block. 8 hours to refreshment and sleep. Now, we all know sleep is important, but framing it as the foundation for cognitive reliability suggests something, well, something deeper than just getting rest. It is. It's entirely about mitigating that destructive negative stress and overload. The key principle here is simple and technical. Conserve your brain power.
Conserve your brain power.
Or, as we like to call it, conserve RAM.
Conserve RAM. I love the purity of that analogy. But why is our brain so fundamentally unreliable for this kind of work?
Because it's just terrible at tracking mundane, scattered details. If you're trying to use your brain to remember you need to patch server X and call the dentist and pick up the dry cleaning, all at once, your cognitive load just skyrockets. That mental RAM gets filled up tracking things, not solving complex problems. And when that RAM is full, that's when you get irritability and bad decisions.
So the practice is to externalize your memory. What does that actually mean for a busy person? Is it just keeping a to-do list?
It's more rigorous than that. It means writing down every single request, every single time into one reliable organizer.
A single source of truth, yes. The sources call it a PDA, or more modernly, a PAA, a personal action assistant. And we should be clear, a PAA can be anything, a physical notebook, an app, whatever. The point is it's a dedicated tool just for capturing incoming tasks, work or personal.
Both. You have to dump the cognitive load the instant it arrives.
Exactly. You free your mind from that tax of tracking. This reserves your mental capacity for the high-level technical tasks your job actually demands.
You stop using your brain as a filing cabinet and start using it as a high-speed processor.
But managing that time off, those 8 hours of refreshment, that's hard. The work anxiety bleeds over. How do SCs actually protect that non-work time?
It requires developing habits and mantras. Or really, they're pre-computed decisions to avoid procrastination and that mental leakage.
Pre-computed decisions, I like that.
The sources note that the first time you schedule walk the dog or call mom into your PAA, it feels kind of ridiculous.
It does, yeah.
But that's the whole point. You're valuing that time. You're making it non-negotiable.
So the critical step is recognizing that the work-life boundary is porous. Unless you manage your personal time with the same rigor you manage your ticketing system.
Absolutely. You have to manage your social life with the same tools you use for work. If you ignore non-work time, if you don't schedule family or social events, you are heading straight for burnout. You have to schedule and protect refreshment just as fiercely as you protect your project time.
Because that protection feeds directly back into your cognitive reliability at work.
It's a closed loop. 8 hours for vocation, 8 for refreshment, 16 down. Now I get to the final and most philosophical block. 8 hours to service in ethics. The gauge dedicates this time to the service of God and a wordy, distressed brother. What on earth does an 18th century mandate like that mean for a modern tech professional? Well, symbolically, this third block is basically the admonishment that life should not be solely devoted to our own particular jobs and means of amusement.
Okay.
It forces you to shift your focus from the immediate tactical needs to the systemic strategic ones. And this aligns perfectly with the modern SA's struggle to prioritize strategic planning.
So the connection is, serving the system or the community is best achieved by being strategic, not just reactive. It means you have to stop the constant firefighting.
That's the bridge. The sources use this really powerful metaphor here, the leaking faucet.
The leaking faucet.
Yeah. If you don't dedicate time to this strategic block, you become perpetually consumed by mopping the floor. That's the busy work, the immediate fixes, that constant reactiveness.
And all that mopping prevents you from ever fixing the root cause.
The leaking faucet itself, the broken infrastructure, the inefficient processes. And if you don't fix the faucet, you will be mopping forever.
So, practically speaking, how does an SA fill these 8 strategic hours? What do they do?
First, you tackle your long-term life goals, whether they're personal, like learning a new language, or professional, like getting a specific certification or a promotion. You break those big ambitions down into measurable, scheduled steps.
It's not a wish anymore. It's a project.
It's a project with a timeline. And the second major strategic action.
What is it?
Documentation.
Ah, documentation. The thing everyone hates.
Everyone hates it, yet this time is designated for creating and maintaining useful internal IT documentation or customer-facing repositories. It is one of the most powerful time management tools you have.
It saves future you a lot of time, but S's constantly resist it.
Yeah.
So how is documentation a strategic action in this context?
Because good documentation is a systemic fix. It saves incredible amounts of time later on by reducing knowledge silos, and it makes delegation so much easier. If your L1 team can follow documentation to solve 60% of tickets,
You've just effectively automated a huge chunk of your Category 3 work.
you got it. It is the ultimate strategic fix that prevents future tactical mopping.
Let's go back to the ethical dividend for a second, serving the distressed worthy brother.
Yeah.
How does the time gained from all this rigorous management translate into, community contribution?
Well, the philosophy mandates that the time you gain from efficiency, from automation, from externalizing memory, it has to be used for a purpose beyond just yourself. The modern interpretation is about reclaiming your family life, strengthening friendships, and contributing to your community.
So you're using your reclaimed capacity to build infrastructure for your life, not just for your job.
That's a perfect way to put it. This is really powerful. So, to synthesize this, the 24-inch gauge, this 888 framework, it provides structure for vocational focus through things like interruption shields and automation.
Right.
It guarantees cognitive reliability through externalized memory and protected sleep. And crucially, it mandates strategic, purposeful living through scheduled planning.
The result isn't just a slightly faster essay. It's an essay who's prepared, who's resilient, and whose accomplishments are optimized across all parts of their life.
Not just at work.
The ultimate objective, as the sources define it, is time well employed. We've shown how maximizing efficiency in those vocational 8 hours directly frees up the capacity you need for the strategic and ethical 8 hours. By refusing to let the tactical overwhelm your life, you are essentially creating capacity for real purpose. That leaves us with our final provocative question for you, the listener. The source material frames this strategic time as an ethical dividend, the time you use to fight injustice and contribute to your community. If you actually did this, if you successfully implemented the interruption shield, externalized your memory with a PAA, and automated your most common routines, which specific community organization or deeply important personal life goal would you dedicate that reclaimed time to first?